First of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were.
The breaking point has been reached by Caitlin Clark. She's also making sure that everyone hears it this time. The WNBA has been using her picture to increase headlines and viewership for months. However, Clark is now making a strong pushback. Her audacious comments directed directly at Commissioner Cathy Engelbert have completely ignited a huge uproar in the basketball community. A little conflict between the league's leadership and players has now developed into a major crisis. Nafisa Kear's feisty 6-minute exit interview, which actually stole the show at the finals, served as the catalyst. Everyone was discussing Kear's assertion that Engelbert had made this astounding remark about Clark rather than the post-game highlights. Since she wouldn't have all those endorsement deals without the WNBA, Caitlin Clark ought to be thankful for it. "Man, it spread like wildfire," is the quote. The fans were furious. Players responded on social media, and the league was immediately in total disarray. Engelbert tried to explain her position at a news conference just before Game 1 of the finals in an attempt to control the narrative. However, the criticism was only exacerbated by her remarks. Now that Clark has finally spoken up, the league is dealing with its worst image issue to date.
That you were disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Nafisa Collier, just again seeking clarity. Did you in fact say that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlin Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
Yeah, obviously I did not make those comments. Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game, proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there, and I certainly did not say that.
Thus, Engelbert categorically denied ever saying that about Caitlin Clark. She even went a step farther and implied that Kear's account of their private conversation was untrue. On national television, she essentially accused Nafisa Kear of lying. Things really started to go south at that point. This wasn't simply any player expressing their annoyance. As a WNBPA vice president, Kear has a direct say in how the league develops going forward because she is actively involved in negotiating the collective bargaining agreement, player compensation, schedules, travel requirements, and maternity benefits. Therefore, it's not only gossip when someone with that much power publicly criticizes the commissioner. Rather, it's like a political earthquake within the WNBA. And as soon as Engelbert hit back, the dispute between the players and the league leadership quickly turned from a simple misunderstanding into a full-fledged power battle. Get this too. Cathy Engelbert did more than simply reject a player's account when she publicly rejected Kear's accusations. She totally undermines a union leader who speaks for all of the league's female members. Everything changed in that instant. After carefully avoiding controversy throughout the season, Caitlin Clark ultimately came to the conclusion that she could no longer remain silent. She had ignored the commotion, kept her head down, and concentrated solely on playing basketball for months. She didn't falter or cover any PR speak, though, when reporters questioned her about Collier's remarks. Rather, she delivered a cool-headed and incisive rejoinder that rocked the WNBA. "I think Fee made a lot of valid points," she stated. Boom, just like that. One line caused the room's air to change. Clark abruptly stopped talking, pushed her weight behind Kear, and made it quite evident that she was done being polite. The top star in the league had formally selected a team.
And at the end of the day, she's worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. And Cathy, no one cares. Literally no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
Because that line wasn't arbitrary, the league fell silent after just one statement. It sent a strong statement that the WNBA's face, Caitlin Clark, had formally chosen a side. Who could blame her, really? This is the same league that has allowed her to absorb harsh knocks on the court with essentially no protection while using her reputation to increase ticket sales, TV ratings, and sponsorships. Do you recall her first season? No one was fouled more forcefully than Clark. Elbowed, pushed, and packed, while the referees pretended nothing had occurred. They referred to it as physical play. However, free throws would be made every 5 minutes if LeBron or Steph had been hit by those exact shots. It is therefore understandable why Clark ultimately lost it when the commissioner had the ideal opportunity to demonstrate her concern for player safety, but instead chose to enhance the league's reputation by using Caitlin's name. The situation subsequently became even more chaotic. Following her press appearance, Cathy Engelbert stated that she had contacted Nfisa Collier to arrange a private meeting in order to resolve the matter. However, Collier canceled before that could even take place.
I wouldn't mind at this point if Caitlin just started her villain arc. She needs to start putting her foot down because some of this stuff is getting a little wild. She comes into the WNBA, her biggest life dream to play professional basketball. She comes into the WNBA. She gets a special whistle the opposite way because she's getting fouled and flagrant fouled, and just the defense that they're playing on her is actually insane. Yet despite all that, has an incredible rookie season. And then on top of that, people are using her name for their hidden agendas on both sides. People are just using Caitlin's name, and then if she says something, it's not enough. If she doesn't say anything, she never wants to speak out about anything. She cannot win.
She vehemently declined to meet. The story was broken by ESPN. The crazy part comes next, not from Collier, but from the media. Engelbert learned. That is the extent of the rift. Twitter alerts are informing the league's commissioner of canceled meetings. At that point, Caitlin Clark returned to the scene. Several players, including Clark's teammates Lexi Hall, publicly supported Collier after her cancellation, claiming that league leadership had lost all sense of reality and that Collier was correct. Although Clark didn't release a whole statement, her actions were very clear. She liked numerous fan tweets that criticized the league's leadership, ceased reposting WNBA content, and said nothing about the finals. As soon as they saw it, fans began referring to it as Caitlin Clark's silent protest. And to be honest, it feels just like that. The biggest star in the league sent a strong but silent message. You can't keep using me while disrespecting everyone around me. Now, think about the wider context before criticizing it as an overreaction. The most important CBA talks in WNBA history are about to begin. The threat of a lockout in ownership is making it difficult to balance the finances, and player salary, perks, and working conditions are all at stake. However, the WNBA may be in the midst of its worst crisis to date if its best players begin to lose faith in the league's leadership. The issue is that Nfisa Collier and Breanna Stewart, two of the most important players at the negotiation table, are also co-founders of the brand new off-season league Unrivaled. The conflict of interest becomes really messy at that point. Unrivaled would gain a great lot if the WNBA is unable to come to an agreement and a lockout occurs in 2026. Players would be forced to go there in order to make money. Owners and executives are understandably wary, believing Collier and Stewart may covertly benefit from a WNBA stoppage. And it only makes things appear worse when the league's commissioner gets into a public argument with one of them. That is precisely the source of Caitlin Clark's annoyance. She is observing how her name is being used as a pawn in the power battle between the players and the commissioner. Her only goals are to exercise, get better from her injury, and get ready for the upcoming campaign. However, she always seems to be in the center of every headline. Prices for tickets. Ratings for Caitlin Clark's TV show. Clark, Caitlin. Her name is at the center of labor negotiations, sponsorships, and attendance. She is also the one who is urged to be appreciative of what the league provides for her. That's absurd. In actuality, Caitlin Clark is more important to the WNBA than the W. Her games break attendance records. Her jerseys are the best-selling. Furthermore, her narrative takes up more media attention than the actual finals, even when she is hurt. Nevertheless, the league is unable to defend her off the court or shield her from harm. Fans have taken note. Online, you can sense the frustration building. Even though the WNBA has been given one of the greatest marketing gifts in sports history, they continue to find ways to mishandle it. Ironically, Caitlin Clark isn't even requesting the treatment of a superstar. All she wants is fairness and the opportunity to play the game she enjoys without having her name tarnished by politics, drama, and the media. However, the league immediately drags her back into controversy whenever she attempts to concentrate on basketball. And now she lacks the composed patience she displayed early in her career. This isn't the TW rookie with the smile. This veteran has come to the realization that keeping quiet simply serves to safeguard the system, not the player. Caitlin Clark made a powerful statement by clearly supporting Collier, even in a subtle way. The fallout has barely just started, and you are not impervious to criticism. The players are splitting up into groups. Fans are constantly debating. Some former players are even referring to this as the WNBA's most embarrassing stretch. As the league she is managing teeters on the verge of collapse, Cathy Engelbert continues to deliver slick press conferences regarding stakeholder involvement and player alignment. It's crazy. This was referred to as the WNBA's golden age only a few months ago. It now appears to be more of the start of a reckoning.